You are watching Access LaPorte County, Channel 97. Coming up next is the May 12th, 2023 meeting of the Long Beach Building Commission. You can find more information for this meeting by visiting www.accesslaportecounty.org.
I think we're all set. All right, sorry for the delay. This is the regular scheduled meeting for the Long Beach Building Commission, the May 12th, 2022. Call meeting order 1:08. First order of business, everybody got a copy of the minutes. They're in volunteers, May. Here, Coker, here, and Clausen. Here, Joy Schmidt. Here. The Bible. Yeah. The Diamond. Here. The Mountain. There. Everybody. Here. Okay. First order of business is the approval of the April minutes. Everybody got a copy of those last week. Any additions or corrections? Being none, motion to approve and approval. One second. Second, motion to approve the minutes. I'll second it. All those in favor? Aye. Aye. Opposed, same signs. Commissioners report for April. We had 24 permits with construction costs of $735,143, which generated fees of $9,007. We received 183 calls, permit and information requests. Responded to over 375 emails. We reviewed and approved registrations. We did research and inspections on MS4 alcohols, 2 Lake Shore Drive, and 1 interior, room, site visits, 74 site visits, and 22 inspections. Any additional or any questions on the commissioner's report? Now we'll move on to old business. The fine structure is at the APC. Beach there. Everybody got a copy of the letter that thankfully joined. Everybody get a chance to review that letter? I did. Okay. Are there anything anybody wants to add or delete?
Is your mic on?
Sure. 123. Okay.
Hey, Larry, the court reporter is asking you if your microphone is on. If you could pull it closer, we're having a hard time hearing you.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. Is that better? No. Is that better, Mariana?
It's odd. It's almost like if you could maybe move that microphone so it's directly towards your mouth, not off to the side like it is. I know. It's just maybe that's a weak battery or something. I don't know.
Okay.
But
I'll stick it in my mouth. So we want to add what the FEMA floodplain grade onto that 190. I agree. That's a good point. Anything else on the letter? Okay. Then I'll just get with Chris and we'll send them out. Okay. Sure. All right. Moving on. MS4 requirements. I did speak to Reggie again. It's numerous times this past couple of weeks actually on the ordinance, and she sent me an email from Randy Braun who is the section chief for ordinance, which goes to the APC, correct?
It should, yes.
Okay, then we'll send that to the APC, or I think that back. I'll send it out to everybody here, and then we would have to
Yeah, I think that you should make a recommendation to the APC. You have more knowledge and then the process will get taken and you can help educate the APC on it.
Okay. So I'll get a copy of that and then I'll send it out to everybody and we can review it at the next meeting and we'll send that to the APC. The public outreach, the MS4 group, the way it was set up before was in the county. And there was everything, 4 towns paid into the county. This was done at this was discussed at the town council meeting. The money that was available was split between the 4 entities, which means the town of Long Beach will get $20,000 of that money. I'm not sure what the town council wants to do, but at a minimum, we should use it for public outreach. The MS4, a portion of it. If that, I don't know how that happens. I guess I would just you, Bob, and John Booker, and Chris figure that out so that we could have some money available. That is a requirement of our MS4 permit. Next up is the coastal resiliency groups. We had a meeting on May 5th with program. And they had come up to our first meeting. The purpose of this last meeting was to give us what their recommendations were, what they can do for us. And the 3 things that they had come up with was an overall master plan for the team of our staff. Our entire encompasses Long Beach along the lakefront. Second option was that 24 plan, which takes the peak, what was it, the main drain, actually, John, what's that called, the main drain, or whatever that line is from out here that goes down to the lake. It's a storm drain. Anyway, that was part of the plan, as well as maybe some handicap access. It's that 24. They also gave us a plan or suggested that we might go to a plan for improvements at South 28. And the purpose of this group is they can only do one thing for us. And it was the flavor of the group that we would probably proceed with the overall master plan. And what they will do is come up with recommendations and funding sources. They don't do the grants, but they will recommend to us what can be done through funding sources. And I think that we would prefer to take the overall master plan. Pete, you want to chime in?
Yeah, I mean, it's basically this group has been granted the right to provide for various communities, and I think they'll talk about 6 or 7 communities that will be a plan which would meet the requirements of coastal resiliency in their long and deep. But the idea is that they can provide a plan, a solid plan, a scientific plan, a research plan, and recommendations on where to go to get funding. So the cost to us to plan would be nothing. To execute the plan, we would execute the plan with either partial matching or something else. We would have to go find the grants ourselves, and the monies would be either 100% provided by the funder or some matching form. The reason seems to be that we're leaning towards the overall master plan. It gives us, it would also include these other 2 areas themselves, the South 24 review, the South 48 review. So it seems logical we get a whole plan that scientifically provided with professional people. And it just makes sense to go with that. So to do that, we have to, we want to act upon it. Sometime in June, I think, we want to come back to us with their plan. I don't know when we have to get them. So,
Okay, any questions or comments on that? Moving on, the building department software, we are just starting the implementation of the training on that. Maybe 90 days. It's a 90-day period where we get that, input or start the implementation. We'll run still with our paper and the online version. We'll have to do those probably parallel for a while until everybody gets settled into the electronic version. Next up is the solar ordinance. Ken, I understand, I didn't see it, but I understand that you kind of had that wrapped up.
Yeah, there's already some things developed that really we should get into something that is about. And they get a raise that maybe people can have meetings.
We'll do that. 1612 Indianapolis. We just had a problem getting together with Lawrence Turner. He was gone and I was gone. We just have to get a meeting set up with the attorney to get this ironed out. We pretty much know where we're at. We just want to make sure everybody's on the page and get a consolidated permit. And I think we've already set up. Joy, if you want to do anything that, the Captain's Walk property. So, the last meeting, we said that we needed a NOI or notice of intent and a stormwater commission prevention program for plan, excuse me. And I had some email conversations back and forth with Edie about that. Edie sent me I guess it was a snippet from the IEM information. So it's we're in the infancy of this. I wanted to make sure that we're doing everything properly. So I sent that up to our advisor, which is resident. And resident sent that to Randy Braun, the second chief of the stormwater. And I got this back yesterday. And I'll just read it. I think that's probably the easiest way. Reggie, thanks for reaching out. The topic came up late yesterday. We identified the error on our website. The correct was submitted to the media to reflect the actual language in the construction stormwater general permit, known as CSGP. In appendix item A to the CSGP states a single family residential lot, not part of a multi-lot project, must obtain permit coverage if the projected land disturbance is 1 acre or more. The reference to the 5 acre threshold existed under 327 IAC 15-5. That was repealed upon adoption of the CSGP. The change to 1 acre was required to be made to the CSGP as part of the discussions with the US EPA on final adoption of the CSGP. Since this project does fall under the jurisdiction of the MS4, and the MS4 would be the primary plan review and responsible for compliance, I apologize for the error on this website. So the final determination is, and I can get a copy of this for you, Amy, that it does fall under the 1 acre or more.
I would, any question there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Come up. Turn that mic on, Amy, if you really just identify yourself. Thanks.
My name is Amy Bannister. I am the architectural designer on the Captain's Walk project, and I'm here for the obtainment of the land disturbance permit that was submitted on February 6th. So it's been a while since it's been permitted, and it's kind of an unusual amount of time. I understand this change with the MS4 has complicated and impossible to the commission in this regard. So I've been working on the sidelines, trying to supply and help understand what is required. In the construction stormwater general permit, that was notes that took the place of section 327. It also notes, under section 3.9, this definition about the single family residences, that state, that we do need to obtain permit coverage in accordance with section 2.0. Section 2.0 points back to, the national, let me pull it up a second. It references another, I'll have to pull it out.
That's okay. If you can just
Yeah, so
Reference to
it references, another permitting document from the EPA that also uses the language of if you're over an acre but under 5 acres, that you would not need to submit, the NOI or the SWIP, but instead would just need to follow the general requirements of this construction stormwater general permit. So my understanding of that is that what was submitted with the land ordinance permit would supply the construction plan and follow the general requirements that are outlined in the CSGD. So it seems that we're in compliance, and of course, we want to work in the best interest of the community and the general welfare and health of Hidden Shores, and we've done quite a lot of work on the Lake Shore and not had this experience before.
Sure. I guess I understand your points. Our position, or I shouldn't say your position is, this is new to us, MS4. We, up until this year, somebody else did this.
Yeah, it was.
Right, so when we got into it, we're learning as well as what we need, number one, what we need to do. I went and got certified as an inspector for the federal and state levels. And we have an advisor who's Reggie, who was with the IDEM. That's why I sent the information to her. And I'm not disagreeing with you, but I have to go to her for advice. I don't have this in the back of my head. So if you can, I will provide you with this. I can get it to you probably later today after the meeting by email. But if you would give me back, I sent them what you sent me in your email.
I was going to suggest that we do that.
Sure. And so that's what they responded to. If you have something else,
I do.
okay, if you could send,
I also have the wetland remediation information. I think you.
I did send that off, and they were okay with that.
I think, my understanding of what the NOI and the SWIP are for, and actually did pull up the online permit to see what it was asking for, is that it's really tailored for operations related to business or the sale or lease of the development of multiple properties. It's not, it doesn't really apply to properties that are for personal use unless it were in excess of 5 acres, which we're not dealing with here. The total property acreage is approximately 7 acres for this one lot. And we're well within an acre and a half or less of land disturbance, and that's a conservative estimate. So certainly we're over the 1 acre mark, which is why we submitted the buildings in the first place. And even if they're considering this a typo or an error on the website, I think the statement that they say here that it was determined that these standalone projects are typically not a significant threat to water quality or the discharge. And that's because it's not a business operation, it's not a commercial or industrial operation. I was able to pull up some other projects in Indiana that did submit and apply for NOI and SWIP, and 99% of them, or maybe not 99%, but the majority of them are commercial. A few of them are residential development type sales. So we have more to exchange, I think, in regards to communication with Reggie and the other gentlemen.
Great.
Yes, But, I'm here in the best interest of all parties to help move things along for town, to, relieve some pressure that I'm getting from all parties, from the owner, from builder, and, kind of keep this thing moving forward.
Sure.
Getting it to be, a bit more challenging when scheduling out the spring is here in the past, and just kind of keeping, the ball rolling. So I'm happy to do what I can to help move things along, and love to be able to do that in days and no more weeks if possible. So if we need to jump on the phone, on Monday or Tuesday or whatever we need to do.
As I mentioned, I'll send you a copy of this
Okay.
that we received yesterday. I got this yesterday at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I'll send you a copy of this. If you have additional information you want to send to me, please send it to me either today or Monday,
Yeah.
it's fine. I'll forward it to them. And the reason being is, again, this is new to us, and I'm not, and I don't know if anybody else here is well versed enough, so we seek outside advice
Yeah.
for this.
This is the party that we're doing to that, knows construction activities, including clearing, grading, excavating, that result in land disturbance of equal to or greater than 1 acre and less than 5 acres, and that is, referenced in the CSP.
Okay.
So I can,
That's fine. This is what you referred to about the 3.9 or 2.0. Okay. Great. Amy, I'll send this stuff off and so that we can get this finished and get moving along.
Okay.
Yes.
Did you review this with the homeowners association?
Yes, they have, both the current and past president have said, they don't require us to apply, or submit anything through the HOA.
You're able to submit anything that you have to satisfy the homeowner agreement. It's part of the association.
Yes, yeah, we have been in communication with them.
I'm sorry.
We have been in communication with the HOA, but
When the plans, all right, when we get through this, we get the plans, we'll need that statement that they agree that this is fine.
okay,
Where you.
all right, you may have it already, but if you don't, I'll make sure you do. Okay,
Okay, thanks, Amy.
thanks.
Larry, could you please keep us in the loop on, response to this problem?
Sure, absolutely. I mean, you don't think I send you enough? Okay, next up is 2803 Lindale. We're just looking for a site plan, correct, Louis?
No, we do have a site plan, but the property line in the rear is clearly marked. It's well further than 20 feet away from the property line. The proposed replacement of this bed. Well, there's one setback. He's got, isn't that the form that one? The one that's got.
Shouldn't that be 30 feet, not 20 feet?
Yeah, I'm on this, yeah, you're on, this is 2803 Lindale.
Yeah.
They've got a setback on the front of the side, because they've got two,
Sorry.
you gotta be 30 feet.
Yeah, yeah.
That's why we're waiting.
Exactly.
Okay, now with this one, sheds are to be located in the back of the house. Yeah, on the side.
Right. Well, there's two front streets to the house,
Yes,
and this shed, I mean, 30 feet away from on the street.
It does have to be in the back.
Well, that's, yeah, yes, I'd be looking for your definition of what is the back, okay?
I think if they can give us a site plan and show us what they want to do, without a site plan, it's pretty tough for us to make a decision, so.
If there was no street there, okay, it would be the back of the house.
Yeah, but there is a street, so
Yeah,
it's 30.
yeah, we are having a shed in the back, shed in the middle of the road.
Right.
I guess in, side yard, that's the front yard,
There's 2 30-foot setback. So when if you want to get with them or have them get with us, you can just give us.
Excuse me, Larry. I don't know what I'm talking about, but this is the thing that I never liked, but this is the surveyor location report.
Right.
And it shows that coming feet away, not 30 feet.
Right, and that's what we told them, we have to have a new plan that shows that it's conformed. And until we get that, we can't,
He's got
make a decision. Yeah, and we got, I will, that is, oh, we can get over this, okay,
And where's the entrance?
It is on Lindale,
Limited.
that's, of course, the address, Lindale.
all right, so we just need to get an updated plan that conforms to all of the ordinances. Okay, 1517. I'm going to recuse myself. Pete?
No new information received.
Pete, I have a question about this one. Why do we need a current topographic survey for this? What information does that give us? I don't understand that. I mean, they're going to remove the sand and return it to the original way it was. Why do we care what the topographic survey is now? I feel like we're making these people spend a lot of money to give us some useless information.
So we already was something submitted, right?
No, she's talking about 1517, not that.
I'm sorry. We had one, yes,
Yeah, I don't understand, or if you could explain to me why we need a current topographic survey. Sand was moved off of their property on Save the Dunes property, and they want to just return it to the original way it was, and they have a topographic survey of how it was. And we requested last meeting that they have to give us a current topographic survey. I don't understand why.
well, we wanted to know what's, first of all, this was done, it was done improperly. And we want to make sure it's done properly, repaired properly, turn this located, the original status. There was some work done on the public right of way that removes some sand.
No, that's not on this permit though.
You're right, it wasn't on the permit.
No, but this permit is only for the back of the house where they moved the sand onto Save the Dunes property. All they want to do is return that to its original, the Save the Dunes property to its original form. So why do we need a topographical survey that shows us what it looks like after they dump the sand on there?
Why? I'm sorry. We need to make sure that it conforms to the way it was before.
And we have a survey showing the way it was before, so why do
But
we
that
need?
survey, we was before, it's like 10 years old, 15 years old. We don't know what was done in the interim. I don't know.
Well, a topographic survey now still won't give us that information. We're still gonna have to refer to that old,
But there was major construction done on that property. I don't.
but this permit is just about the sand. About moving the sand.
Yes. But the original survey, I remember it was 15, maybe 20 years. I don't know what happened in the interim.
But that's what they're gonna have to go by anyway.
No,
Because that's all.
we asked for a new one.
But a new one just shows us the topographic survey with the sand already dumped on it. It doesn't show us what it
We
was
want the
before.
we want the boundaries.
Oh, okay, I don't understand it.
I gotta agree with Troy. And the intent is for them to put it back to the original. And the original goes back to the difference. We already have what it's supposed to go back to. if you watch one now, you can show the current state, which is important.
I think we reasoned this all out at the last meeting and had for a certain requirement to have these documents prepared. And I mean,
We did ask for that. I'm just, after thinking about it, and I don't understand why we asked for it. And I know they're a long way out on getting those surveys done, so if we're gonna save the homeowners some money, they don't have to do it. I could say, let's just tell them, huh?
Then your limitation was sort of survey over the 90 days or 24 months or something like that is important. I don't see any other reason why we couldn't use the 10-year-old original survey if that's in fact what they're going to pay the relief factor. And that makes sense.
Personally, I would like to see the before and the after, what it is now versus what was then. That was the goal there, to say, what have they done? And is that all that they've done? And say that, you know, when I looked at that permit that was in there, not only did it have they moved some soil around the town right away, but they had put in a driveway that was not even moved. What was that driveway? I'd like to see what that's all about. So
But that's not on this permit.
I know, but I don't want to prove everything and say everything's fine when something might have been done incorrect.
But this permit is just for the sand in the back that's been dumped on Save the Dunes property. It's just for that.
If you want to forget about everything else, then maybe change it, but I think we should resolve all these issues now. I mean, it's been going on for a long time and we end up with. We'll have the same issue coming up. I'm going to raise the issue about that driveway. Why was that done? What was the purpose of that? Is it really a driveway? It wasn't on the original map. I don't know what else was done.
Okay, anything else?
They've already decided to remove the stand illegally, right?
Yes, they have.
Well, does the citation mean they have to put it back?
Well, that's what we're telling them.
It's, they did not have a permit to go with the.
Okay, moving on. 182303 Idlewood Trail, that was up last month, and then we needed clarification. We need a copy of the septic permit, which came a couple of weeks ago. I sent it out to everybody, and a copy of it here if anybody wants to see it. And then just a 33-foot elevation height, that information as well was received and sent out to everybody. So everything on this permit is in line with our ordinances.
I agree.
Entertain a motion to approve.
I'll make the motion.
Pete, second.
I'll second.
George. Any other discussion? All those in favor, aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Good. 2303 Hazelton. New 3 season. Site plan, this is the same from last meeting. Need a site plan with setbacks and coverage calculations. And also, this is a new septic. And I don't think we've gotten that. Have we moved?
I signed that new one. So.
Got to say again.
You should have, I should have.
Step up to the microphone, identify yourself, please. Yes, it is.
Yeah, I'm a contractor, Dan Mullins. And then I sent Honor and Lou the copy of the new site calculations. On there, show the percentages. We're actually less than what the existing is. Because where the sun is going, is we're an existing patio, and we're actually downsizing So the calculations are actually even less than what they were from existing at the house now.
Okay, you sent those in through the town?
Yes, do you know?
So did we get a copy of it?
Yeah, so, I mean, when I get something from a contractor, I'm gonna send it on and introduce it to the clerk of legend.
What's the address?
I see coverage, but
Real.
I don't see a new site plan setbacks.
Well, it's just plat survey that we got on there for setbacks.
They're going from 32.4 feet to, percent to 31.9%. Just a reduction in that.
You know, the site plan will be a setback sign?
I'm looking for it.
Just basic plat survey that has
Right, same thing.
Because my issue was setbacks. I mean, if I'm looking at mine, if I'm looking at your hand document, it shows here, you're saying you're 15 feet,
we're actually 17 feet.
or whatever. It is. Right, it says 15 feet from the side. And I'm just saying, I could believe, that, see, the other thing is, you show here, on your diagram, probably only to remove. But you show here, you got everything, you got.
Right, well, there's one more house still, and it's Hazel P. World.
It's set back further, right, and that's a critical thing that I was looking at, trying to figure out.
Well, there's a plat survey not yet in there.
No, I didn't. And, but my question was, is it actually a corner lot? Because it does apply on both streets. And that's the thing that's really, right, because because the problem there.
No, I know.
So there's a different type.
But if we're 2303 days in here, 2305 between that and all of that, so they're actually on their driveway, so that other house should be in the corner, that would be the last of Hazel T to get involved.
Sir, I haven't looked at them. Well, like I said, it's maybe it's made, this other house is nowhere near, never touched it at any time. And it's not on me. Might have to use my address, but physically it's not on me, it's not open. Then the house that's on hold is house. So,
Okay, it's up on the screen. So here's what we need, Dan.
And that was just a basic sketch of more than 3 seasons that are trying to base what they're looking for. I was giving you an idea of how we see that.
Okay, so when you look at this, here's what we have to have. Where, so you got.
So there's a patio.
The subdivision is, a little bit on the side. Giving the side that 10 feet. It's nowhere near on the street side of the house.
Right, so lot 7, and I think that's what Joe's asking, this lot right here, lot 7, that's not a street, that's a house.
Yeah, that's still a so that address.
So that, there's only one front setback, that's 30 feet. Yeah, septic you've got drawn here,
We're well within that because we created that on something.
so you got a side setback of 17 feet. The house itself was 32 feet back. The side setback requirement, what's the address, Hazelton?
Yeah, 20.
So, right, so the front setback is 30 feet, you're not changing anything there. What you're changing is, you're keeping a 17-foot setback, that meets the requirements. So the next thing, wait. I don't know how that- The next thing is the coverage calculations. So the coverage calculations, which you just submitted, show that you have that.
Yeah, so I counted the brick patio that you see as it exists or as the existing, but the sunroom is smaller than that patio.
So there's
So we're deducting the site calculation. We're actually less with the new plan than we are what's existing there now.
So in keeping with the ordinance, this is a non-conforming lot, it's 8,700 square feet.
So Bob, correct me if I'm wrong, in keeping with the ordinance, as long as they're not increasing volume in a setback.
Yep.
That we can approve further.
Yeah, as long as they're not expected, they're not.
Right. So we got the coverage calculations and they meet our requirements, even though it's a non-conforming lot. The setbacks are okay, so that the permit it meets all of our requirements.
And there was a question about this new set.
Only reason a septic permit was even shown, I just asked her for a drawing of it so I can prove that we weren't within a septic drain until we're septic. So I just submitted it. So yeah, the septic is new, but it's kind of relevant to the project. The only reason I submitted it was to show where the septic drawing was. So I knew I had my distance from the septic.
Okay,
Okay.
Yeah.
entertain a motion to approve.
Mike, motion.
Pete,
Second.
second, any further discussion? All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Excuse me, I want to longer, thank you very much.
You bet, thanks. Ron, who'd you have to say? What? New business. First item under new business, the Town of Long Beach Public Safety Building. We got that in 2 weeks ago. Is everybody familiar with the plans and the layout? The building is on the town's property behind this building, or north, I should say, not really behind, the replacement for the fire department and the police department buildings that are currently there. It meets, that is the business district. The setbacks are 0, so it meets all the setback requirements. It meets our height requirements. We just got the septic permit yesterday. That was approved by the state and then by everybody. I handed out copies of the septic permit today. Before the meeting, everybody has a copy of that.
Larry, just as, before you have discussion, I have received and everybody's received here electronically, whether you know or not updated application page to correct the ownership. They put Village of Long Beach, and first of all, it's not village, but your application requires either the owner or the lessee. So the new application says the Long Beach Public Building Corporation and or the Town of Long Beach, which are the proper applicants for your consideration of the application.
Okay, let's take a look. I can probably bring that up. I can figure this out. While I'm doing that, any discussion or questions, comments?
Septic permits. Approved.
Yes.
Usually the building long.
No, there's a question on the application, the subject, I was speaking of the application as submitted.
Okay, here it is.
But not say
The septic permit I handed out to everybody at the meeting. Did you have a copy of that? This is what Chris is referring to. I just pulled it up in my email. There was a question as to whether or not the owner or lessee was proper on the application, in that it's up on the screen now. And I think everybody has it in their email. The owner of the lessee is the Long Beach Public Building Corporation and or the Town of Long Beach.
Under the agreements between the town and the Public Building Corporation, the town is the lessee. So either way, it is covered, probably overkill, and it corrects the error on the original submission, which was Village of.
Okay.
I move to approve.
Second.
Lemay. Pete, by votes, any discussions? Being none, all those in favor, aye. Opposed, same sign. Here,
What was the vote? Is it start here? What was the vote? So that it can be accurate. Obviously, this is a project that has, we don't have to take that, just make sure that you know who did or didn't vote in favor of it.
it's just,
Obviously, eyes are on this project, I hope we make sure it is.
okay,
thorough.
can we go, let's go,
You can do whatever you like, just want to make
let's just
it.
go on a roll call. Honor, can you have a roll call there? I mean, so you'll keep track of this?
Yeah.
Okay, Larry Wall, aye. Pete Bottomman.
Aye.
John Coker.
We had the full plans on the shed.
Oh,
Yes.
Ready for construction plan?
Yes, they were submitted as or not as built, the proposed plans.
They were submitted, are they approved?
That's what we're doing. Did you say aye?
No, they don't, they just say, see.
Okay, they were sent to everybody, I think, 2 months ago. Okay, Joy, Pete, aye. Joe?
The only, just to make it clear, I'm not saying yes or no, but I believe the plans that I viewed, and John, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but it says 90% of what the plan would be. Am I correct, John?
Yeah, the only thing that's gonna change is wherever the town council decides on the changes, we're gonna get costs in on. So we need to make sure that some. Come to the mic. Should come to the mic, make sure. Beg your pardon, my electronic interface thing's been kind of rough. So essentially, the 90% drawings reflect anything structural, anything to do with the building, anything to do with the MEP, being mechanical, electrical, plumbing issues. The only thing that's gonna change is if the town council changes some of the aesthetics, that those drawings would change. That's gonna be based on the cost information that's gonna be submitted to the town here in the coming week. We bid out, the contractor bid out all the subs, all the information didn't get in time for your meeting, but the council has to make those decisions. So there may be some slight changes on the drawings in terms of aesthetics from the architectural standpoint, depending on what the town decides they can afford.
It's my understanding, I guess, we working on this, first thing.
Yeah, we call it fitness room. There's 2 reasons for that. One is, we like to encourage our guys and girls to do a little bit of workout. We've done that at the Y. So, and the other thing is that the police department, when those guys get off shift, sometimes they want to burn off some steam, particularly if it's been a rough day. So the thought was that they also have access to that as well, so they have a little place to kind of veg out.
Just, John, just say that a second. If it's okay, I'm not out of order. I just said, I'd like to ask a couple quick questions.
Well, I'm not sure how this goes. We have a vote, so I think we have to vote. We had discussion and now we have to vote, so everybody's voted except for Joe.
I will say whatever, because I'd like to discuss the politics.
We should have done that under discussion.
Larry, I'm
No,
sorry.
go ahead.
Discussion.
All right, look, just go ahead. Let's move along.
We open the discussion. Can we do it?
Yes, come on.
So my comments were, they're not negative comments, but I just wanted to make sure that we're talking about the building permit application is what they're constructing. I just wanted to be clear to myself that there is no demolition in this permit because there's nothing to demolish in the beginning. And I would think that there should be a second demolition permit when they're ready to demolish the old firehouse. Am I correct?
I don't know. I didn't take the bids. The old firehouse is to be demolished. It's going to be demolished at a period of time. John can speak to that.
So the design build process included, we asked 6 contractors to come in. We wanted them with 2 bids. The one bid
was going to go over the top of the existing fire department, meaning they would have had to demolish it right off the bat. Part of the reason we chose the second design build concept was not only were they cheaper by significant dollars, but they also put the building in the northeast corner rather than over the top of the old structure. So that gave us the luxury of being able to stay in the building a little bit longer. And it was the accepted proposal voted on by the council and approved. So that's the concept that we went with. But there will always be the demolition of the old station in the project.
Okay, so you're saying it is part of this project?
Yes, it's going to be done by the same contractor that's doing.
Tomorrow.
That's correct. So the schedule right now, the way it's supposed to work out, if everything goes according to oil and you guys give us approval, is that the demolition will occur. The reason it has to occur in the fall before winter sets in is they want to be able to pave that over so the town has use of the parking lot as the building's being built. So the demolition will occur and then they'll pave it. If we don't allow that to happen until after the paving plant's closed, then we won't be able to pave the parking lot until spring, which we prefer not to do. The other nice thing about this concept of the building up in the northeast corner is that the town now has a big parking lot between this building and the new building. And if we ever be able to acquire the property going to the east, for instance, if the pizza place goes out of business, you'd have this great, nice swath in between that the town could use. So I hope that answers your question.
It does. I just had, sorry, I just lost the train of thought.
So the demolition is in the project. Yes, but part of
The
it.
demolition would be a separate permit when you're ready to demolish, correct?
I don't think it needs to be, just my personal opinion, because the project was awarded with the demolition in the project. So I mean, you guys need to start.
Besides, part of this permit today is included in this permit is the demolition of the old station, is what John has said.
It's part of the contract.
Thanks. Anything else, Joe?
Okay, Larry, you good? And I hate, yeah, I was gonna say, I hate to be late, because many eyes are on this project and make sure, what is the tally on the vote?
Well, Joe hasn't voted yet.
He abstained, and everybody voted.
Okay, so here's the vote. Larry Wall was yes, Bob Lemay was yes, John Coker was yes, Ken Klossner was no, Joyce Schmidt was yes, Pete Bybos was yes, and Joe was an abstention. So the permit is approved. Are you still at? What's your vote, Joe? Joe, what is your vote?
I just, please, why? If there's another minute, man, just wait, what do you?
The question is, what is your vote, Joe?
I didn't say I'm for the project.
So is that a yay vote or a nay vote?
Yes.
It's a yes vote. All right, I'll go through the votes one more time. Larry Wall, yes. Bob Lemay, yes. John Coker, yes. Ken Klossner, no. Joy Schmidt, yes. Pete Bybos, yes. Joe Jogman, yes. Permit is approved. Thank you. Next up, stop 21 safety railings, that's actually been approved. Stop 23 safety railings, that's been approved. Those are for railings on the shore protection that was done in 2020 after to protect the public access stop. That's through the fire department, right, Jim?
Yes.
Okay. Next up is 3002 Lakeshore Drive stairs. There was a permit that was submitted to do stairs and stop there at this house. We did not get any drawings over what the stairs would be to be built of. The permit basically just said we're going to build stairs and we're going to build them according to the ordinance. We need to have drawings and we need to have a narrative of what the proposal is. So we'll have to table this. Next up is 2020 Lakeshore Drive stairs. Those meet the requirements. Is everybody familiar with that one?
I couldn't find a permit after those.
Okay, let me look it up, Joy.
It was submitted in a block.
Yeah. November 8th.
There's one, 22, and part of it, maybe.
Pull this up so you guys can see it. Okay, so this is a section of the stairs, or not, sorry, not a section, an elevation view of the stairs. Back where, this draping material is with the holes in it, or the dots on it, that's concrete. This section down here that is brown is steel. So the ordinance calls for stairs that can only be 42 inches wide. So this, you see the dimension section here is 3'6", which is 42 inches. It comes down on the face of the seawall 42 inches. And then it comes down, or I'm sorry, the face of the concrete 42 inches. And then it steps and goes 42 inches down the concrete section to the beach. And the reason for this is because this steps out. Everybody see that or understand that? That's what the permit is before us.
So 42 inches wide above where it steps out and 42 inches wide below?
Yes, that's right.
Okay.
I move to approve.
Yeah, I second.
Motion by Pete. Second by Bob. Any discussion? All those in favor, aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. 2505 Shorewood. Still waiting for some information, correct?
Yes, we are. Not ready for a real vote.
Okay. 2044 Lake Shore Drive. Just questions. I'm sorry.
Do we need septic information on that? Where is the septic? This one?
2505.
Yeah. Find it.
Maybe you're right about that.
What was the date of that?
MED coverage of the fall.
Well,
Yes.
when did they submit that?
This was submitted, last week. And then I, submitted the May 11.
May 11.
But that doesn't say right.
Yesterday.
Yeah, no, that can't be right.
This is being received May 11th, so this, we can't even consider this right now. Okay, we'll move on.
But we do need septic and coverage, yes.
And coverage, yeah.
Yeah,
I suppose this be on the 9th. The door in the back.
why is it only, why don't we just have a permit from 11th? I don't get that.
It was sent in, by the contractor, to, and she circulated it. I thought it was circulated before that.
There was a permit for a roof of that same property months ago, and that was already approved. All right. Okay, so we need to get the proper information, which I'm assuming you can get for us, Luke.
Yeah,
Thank you. 2044 Lake Shore Drive, those are stairs. Again, those stairs meet the requirements. Probably approved. Lenny. Second, Pete by votes. Any other discussion? All those in favor, aye. Opposed, same sign. Approved. 3007 Mayfield Way. We needed some additional information. There are, we didn't have proper coverage numbers. There was a,
David, lost our present owners. What may give you?
Okay, first of all, the property is, over 50% coverage. But, the plan here is to remove a sidewalk area on the west side of the house, actually reducing coverage, the total lot. What the idea is that they're increasing the deck size, but there's, poured concrete all racked up, below where they're increasing, the deck size. So that's no new coverage there. Then, there's a loss, reduction in coverage to the sidewalk.
The state's up on the screen if anybody wants to look at it. Almost second. But first, let me explain what the first issue is on this, that I saw was the lot area is listed as 15,300 feet. The current coverage is listed at 2215 with the home and the deck. And the new coverage is listed at 2215 and 450 with the deck. The problem we have with that is, if you look on the screen, all of this area here and here is part of the coverage, as well as the sidewalks and anything else. And that needs to be calculated into the lot coverage.
Understand. That is the site plan of a proposed building that they wanted to do, and then they actually outran their own coverage financially, that they're not going to do. So when I submitted this was my first time working with them Long Beach, and I discussed with Lou. I told them, what we're doing here is we have a current house, and this is what they're thinking about doing. That was the site plan that's being proposed. They're not going to do that anymore. They scaled things back dramatically. So I had a survey of when they actually purchased the home 17 years ago. I'd given that to Lou. I calculated out the current existing coverage, and what he has updated from our discussion on the actual site is correct. We're actually going to be reducing it. I went ahead and did the math. He doesn't have that. I brought that to you today.
Okay, you got me that.
Okay.
It's way over your coverage, not bad. Well, if I did my math correctly, I calculated out the current coverage is at 5,489 square feet, which comes out to 35.88. If we remove the sidewalk between the homes from the reduction of 310 feet of it that's going, and we'll then have a coverage of 33.85.
Okay,
I broke down the coverages by the lot area, the home, the deck, the driveway, the sidewalk, and then the rear Scoville drive.
okay, I didn't hear your first name. What's your first name?
David?
David.
Yes.
Okay, David. What we'll need you to do is get your site plan and your coverages that you have and get it put on whatever, this, I see this, what you just gave, Lou just provided, or I think maybe you just provided to Lou. So what you'll need to do is you need to take this and you can do it on a separate sheet. Give us the coverages and then give us the setbacks and tell us what you want to do. And then that'll go out to everybody, and then we can make the decision, or not make the decision. We can't make a decision unless it's at a public meeting, but we need the information. We don't take the information at the meeting here to try to figure out what we're doing. Does that make sense?
Yes, but I've submitted the information. We're gonna remove and replace siding. We're gonna remove and replace the roof. We're gonna remove the existing deck and build a new deck on the same footprint. That's part of the permit that I submitted. And then we're going to, where there's currently a concrete slab that's all busted up, we're going to put a new deck extension on that, over it. We're removing the sidewalk between the two properties.
I just didn't understand how we do coverage calculations here.
Yeah.
Last week, I straightened them out. And you said you come back to me with the numbers.
Okay, but what we need is the site plan with the way it's going to be built when it's done. with all the things on it. We don't want to be saying, we're moving this, or changing that. We want to see how it's going to look when it's completely done. It's always fair.
Right.
So, David, I guess,
Well, the plan that I submitted with my permit, maybe I was not doing this correctly, and I annotated leaving on the permit, and I also included a full page saying this is exactly what we're doing inside the home and outside the home. The first phase is just an exterior model. They're gonna get a new roof, new siding. Yeah.
I'm just concerned about the footprint of everything.
That's not changing.
This is actually
That the footprint's not changing. What the only thing that's occurring is that there is a sidewalk in between the two homes, and that's getting removed. And that's gonna be then a reduction of coverage of about 310 square feet.
okay, here's our problem. I'm looking at the permit the way it was, what I have in front of me is a permit from 421. There's 3 pieces of information. There is a permit application for $349,000. The verbiage, the narrative on that permit says exterior and interior remodel of existing structure, see attached scope of work. On that scope of work, it lists, let me get the scope of work up here.
Yes, I sent all that in because we were doing apparently a permit review.
Well,
And then Lou and I met out on the site.
okay,
I think a lot of
I understand, but
the stuff would have been done outside of the meeting.
I want to explain to you what we have
Yeah.
here in house. What we have is your permit application for $349,000. The information that I just shared with everybody on the screen.
Okay.
And I have your contract or your proposal to the owners. What we need in the information that you sent us, which I'll put up on the screen right now.
we have the A111.
This is what I have. I have 3 documents that came on 421. That's all I have. And the first one was the permit, says 349. The second one was David's proposal to the owners. This is the only other thing that we have. We have this as a site plan. This is up on the screen if you guys want to look at it.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, we have this that has a deck addition on it. We have this that is just the interior of the existing home, and we have the exterior elevations. Those are the 3 pieces of information that we have. Okay. Because what was submitted here with the lot coverage on it doesn't include what the lot coverage actually is. What you're saying today is that you're not doing some of this stuff, and that's fine, but we need the documents for that. Those documents have to come through the town. They get stamped.
So we need a new site plan, a survey that
We need a site plan that says what we need a narrative of what you're actually doing. It sounds like you're not doing what you said you were going to do in the first.
No, that's not fair.
Okay,
It's not the case.
so you're doing the 349,000?
Yes.
Okay. The information we have with that $349,000 permit is what I'm showing on the screen right now. This lot coverage is not correct, okay? This deck addition, you're saying you're not doing, correct?
No, he's doing that.
Okay, so if you're doing a deck addition, you have to provide us with accurate lot coverage. Okay? What we have here is not accurate lot coverage. We can see that because none of the drive in the back, the pavers in the back, the sidewalks in the front, none of those are included in this, okay? You need to provide that to us. We can't make an informed decision unless we have that information. That makes sense?
Right, I understand.
Okay. And until we have that, we can't make a decision,
Okay.
okay? I mean, am I missing something?
No, I asked for the coverage last week and it's just brought up to us here today. So we don't actually have it, I guess.
Okay.
Then I misunderstood. I thought that's what this was for today, to bring the information.
Okay, so what has to happen is.
Yeah. This is the first time I've been through a process like this where we ain't been. I mean, typically you just submit your information and you told yes, no, I didn't know this.
Well, we have to have the proper information. That's the bottom line. And I'm sorry, if this sounds like it got kind of fouled up, but what you need to do is it sounds like you're doing the $349,000. So if you're going to do that, you need to give us this site plan that has proper coverage numbers on it.
Okay. First question I have for you.
Sure.
Well, let's go over that. I have a survey of the home when it was purchased 17 years ago.
Okay.
No changes have been made to it. Okay.
Okay.
Can I utilize this site plan, or do I need to go ahead and employ a surveyor to go and draw a site plan? Because we're not changing the footprint with the work that we're proposing.
Okay, on your drawing that you just sent, and that's up on the screen right now.
Where it's a deck addition, there's concrete underneath, that's through those concrete stairs.
Okay, you need to explain that to us.
Okay.
So
Do that now?
let me stop you for a second. You provided information to us. Okay? That's how we make our decisions. Our decision can't be made because we don't have accurate information. If this has concrete underneath it, you need to tell us that. You need to explain that in the coverage numbers. So that when in this coverage information that you have, that needs to be submitted. It has to be submitted and stamped in either by Honor here or the town clerk. That's how everything gets officially recognized. Correct, Chris?
Yes.
Okay, so what I'm suggesting to you is.
I shall do that.
Okay, get the coverage information, make it accurate, okay? With what you have here, because what you sent us before isn't accurate. You understand that part?
Can I ask a question? Is the pervious drive and the pavers, are those going to be new?
No, none of them.
So you're not going to do those?
No.
So we need a site plan that shows that not on it.
No, unfortunately, I don't want to disagree with you, Joy, but those are existing. They're not included. They're existing right now on the property. They're not included.
That's a question I just asked, and he said they weren't there.
I'm very familiar with the property. The drive in the back is there.
The drive, yes, they're not pervious. That's it's all.
It doesn't matter if it's pervious or impervious. Anything on the ground is coverage.
Yeah.
So what we need you to do is to take this drawing and include everything that is on this drawing as coverage, okay? And then that should be spelled out. You can do it by hand, you can do it on a separate sheet.
Would it be cleaner if we just got rid of that drawing then? Because was just the site plan that I had.
Right.
For proposed work that they had an architect to draw up.
Right.
That they then outran their own fiscal coverage that they're not going to do. So then when this was discovered by my client and they gave that to me, and then when I met with Lou, I said, well, this is what I have.
Right.
What we're trying to do, because all we're doing is doing siding and roof and replacing a deck. We're trying not to, have to incur the expense of getting another site plan drawn up.
we're not asking you to get another site plan drawn up. What I'm simply asking for is on this drawing.
Yes.
You gave us right now, this drive is here.
That's correct.
Okay, this is the residence, this walkway is here, there's a patio down here. Those items need to be included in the coverage on the lot. Lot coverage in our town is limited to 35%.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you put all that information together and put that on with this, that can be your site plan.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, and then just make sure that the narrative that you're submitting with the permit coincides with the information on that site plan. Okay?
Understood.
All right,
So, okay, thank you.
thanks. Next up. 2924 Loma Portal Way. That meets requirements. Is everybody familiar with this one? It was Do you want me to bring it up, or is everybody familiar with it? No answer, huh? 29. Yes, I'll bring it up. Okay, up on the screen, this is the existing coverage. It's this green area in the back is what they're proposing to change. That's the existing, the way it is now. This is what they're proposing. This green area. These are the coverage numbers existing, 32.2%. Proposed, 34.7%. Anybody have any questions or discussion?
I was moved to approve.
Joy?
No setback issue.
No. You can see on the dotted line there, Bob, that's the setbacks.
If you remove the place.
See this area? That coincides with this. They're actually removing the part that's encroaching in the setback. So that will conform after they're done. Joy, John, second. Any other discussion? All those in favor, aye. Opposed, same sign. Is somebody here for anything else that we can get done right away?
Oh, I think that's going to
Oh, anything before?
I thought we were following up, asking about here, having a piece with the.
So you're 29-24?
Yeah.
So you're all set.
Thank you.
Okay, is anybody else here for anything on a permit? Which one are you? Oh, yeah. Sorry, I recognize it. You had a hat on here, right? Yeah, I did. Okay. That's 1709.
Oh, wait, that's
1709. All right, let's bring that up. All right, I'm going to share my screen here. I'm bring this up. Is everybody looked at this? Does everybody understand what's going on here? There's a couple of areas of work, but the area that I sent you out in response to the drawings is these two drawings. So what's up on the screen now, this is Rosemont. See where my pointer's going, where the yellow box is jumping? And this is Story. So there's a 30-foot setback on Rosemont, and there's a 30-foot setback on Story. This is the existing coverage. I met on site with the contractor and the architects and the designer. So what's existing here is this section right here is concrete, and there's a little bit of a parking area here for cars.
this hatched or shaded area is, let me zoom this up. This hatched area is some brick pavers, there's some retaining walls here, there's some 6x6 planters here, and then these are steps. That's the existing portion. What they're proposing is to remove that and take the parking out here and put a walkway in, and then put in, you can see there's some pavers here. I can't remember, was it outdoor kitchen or?
Yeah, kitchen, yeah.
And I'm sorry, I don't remember what this was right here.
That's a street planter.
Okay. So, we met on site and we went over everything and I explained, I'm sorry, I forgot your first name. Bruce. Bruce and I met on site with the architect, John Rubel, and the designer, Larry Zimmer, and went over all this. And you can see this line right here? That's the property line. The setback, because this is story F here, the setback is the dashed line here. So the setback, this work is in the setback. This actual work is in the town's right of way, pardon me. So I suggested to Bruce that they file for the permit. We can have discussion here and see where we go with this. Bruce and the owners, or Bruce and the architect and the designer are aware that we may have to go to the BZA with this. So does anybody have some comments on this?
What kind of dimension, you say is in the setback?
No, this here, see this where I'm moving my pointer here? That's the lot line. Okay. Everything to this side of the lot line is the town's property. Everything on this side, because this is a 30-foot setback, is in the setback. See this dashed line right here? That represents the 30-foot setback. Okay, so this work that they want to do is in the setback. So we discussed on site, they're doing away with, can there be a trade here? And I said that at our level, we don't do trades, so to say. That has to go to the BZA and Bruce would make us pay it to the BZA. But I certainly told him that he should apply. And the easiest way to the BZA is to do this, and then we just move to the road where they move. So that's what's before us. Does that make sense to everybody?
How would we deny it, depending on the BZA? They're the horse traders.
Okay, Bob May, motion to deny, second.
I'll second.
Joy. Any other discussion?
Yeah.
Pete?
Where are we sending this to the BZA?
Well, that's his choice, give up to the BZA.
I mean, it has nothing to do with politics.
No, it's not a transfer, Pete. This
This swap, right?
No, it's not a swap. I guess I probably shouldn't have said that. For our purposes, we can't give them a permit to do this work because it's in the setback.
I agree with that.
Okay, so I probably should have said what I said. I suggest to Bruce, we're gonna have to deny it, and then they can take it to the BZA. The architect has asked me, well, we're really swapping. We're taking this work that is actually on the town's property and we're doing away with it. And then we're changing this area. And I said, we can't deal in swaps here at our group. That may be something that you bring up with BZA. I'm sorry,
I misunderstood. It's not improving or maintaining our performance, it's already there. They are improving on, which is likely a strong case before the BZA that we're removing this approach from the town property, but it isn't the normal maintaining or with the recent changes of the BZA. So variance is required to do that.
Right. Any other discussion? All those in favor, aye. Opposed, same sign.
You're all set. I'll send you the denial. What we talked about.
All right, thank you.
Okay. I'm sorry, sir. Are you here for something that you're waiting?
Roger, just.
Okay.
We need to go back to.
Yeah, 2302 Flormont. That is a shed removed and replaced. There was an existing shed. Amy, you don't have to sit.
I have a follow-up.
Okay. No, you want to come up and just ask it, so you know, I'm sorry if I didn't know. I thought maybe
No,
you liked it. I thought you liked this thing.
Amy Van Street Garden Captain's Walk. My question is, and maybe this is forward, could we potentially vote on the land ordinance permit with the contingency of whether the NOI or the SWIFT is not approved or not? My concern is if we don't have any sort of approval, are we waiting a whole other month? Or we just don't have that kind of time, so.
Well, here's my problem.
Do we have
And
a
this, right, this,
special meeting?
you can request a special meeting. Anybody can request a special meeting, especially, pardon me,
How much time is required to request a special meeting?
48 hours, I think, it has to be posted, business hours, it has to be posted.
And how is that?
And everybody here is volunteer. So what happens is, a special meeting is dependent upon the schedules of everybody here. It's also dependent upon the review process. One of the issues with this particular project, which I had expressed to you, I think, in an email, is this is a much larger project than we're used to seeing. And we have asked for outside help from the town's engineering firm to give us a hand in review.
For the building permit.
Right, well, actually for everything. I've asked for outside help on review of the MS4 information as well through Reggie. And then she put us into
But
this.
not for the land disturbance.
Right, the land disturbance permit is part of the MS4 situation. So we're trying to cover all our bases here. You can request a special meeting. And I guess to answer your original question, or the answer that I would have to your original question is, I'm going to ask for Reggie's guidance on this. We can't vote on it. I mean, if these guys want to, they can certainly, I don't know how that would go, Chris, but
Well, if the question is that you want to go up land disturbance permit subject to there being verification and no more process. One of Joe's favorites is contingency approvals, right? So that's your question. You can, and you always have the right to do that. The issue is whether you're inclined as the board to do that.
okay.
So, but, yeah, you have to figure out whether that's your pleasure, whether, you can.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
And speak.
What's the motion?
Yeah, I was gonna say, be clear, what is that motion? So, I understand this, right? The question was, the request was, would you revisit and consider approving the land disturbance permit application subject to verification that there are no other requirements under MS4, so that they are in line with the town and other codes as submitted.
Right, and if we were to discover through the IDM and a follow-up that an NOI is what are in fact required, then so be it, we would need to do that.
With that, I guess that you need to determine who's going to make that determination. For instance, you retain service to Reggie to advise. So she's the decision maker, and she gets back to Larry and attorney requested that Larry share correspondence communication. And if she said, no, there's more process. And for instance, I'll play devil's advocate. She says, no, I don't agree. Where are we? So where did it stop? You have to decide, I think, to make it clear. She'd ask, hey, please just do this contingent because we think we're right. We don't think there's any more process. And you could do that. But what if Reggie comes back and says there is MS4, there are no requirements and this doesn't meet, or there's an additional process that is required. And she said, I don't think so. Are you going to follow your advice of your professional or your You see what I'm saying? No, it doesn't allow him to report his interpretation of the house.
Are we open for discussion, Larry? Right now?
We don't even have a motion. Somebody has to tell us, say what the motion is. What is the motion?
To allow, my understanding, Ken's motion was to allow us to move this land disturbance permit contingent on Reggie and Amy talking, Barry talking to Reggie, and Barry determining that the process is, that they don't need any.
Larry, I guess that's the next one is Larry's verification with Reggie that there is no additional process which is required.
Open now for discussion, Larry?
So that Ken's made that motion, and you seconded it?
I second it.
Who?
I second it.
Okay, now discussion.
Okay, I definitely strongly feel that the better approach would be once, Larry and, Reggie or anybody else, once they decide what we should be doing, and if you're worried about a timing, I think you go with the 48 hours, and I would much rather come back to have a meeting than to put a yes on something that we don't really know for sure how it's all gonna work out, and it can be much more complicated. So that's just my opinion.
Amy, could you, what does the land disturbance permit cover? What is it disturbing? How much?
What the permit includes 1.5 acres.
Of what?
Here, hold it, I'll pull it up, let's just make it simple. There are a lot of variables here. And the project, we have two applications or two pieces of information on the project in the form of applications. One application says the project encompasses 7.2 acres. The other says that it encompasses 11 acres.
The 11.5 acres is in reference to, Captain's Walk and the Grand Mirror.
Okay, but again, what I'm putting forth is what you gave to us. We didn't make this up. One of your applications says 7.2 acres. See if I can find it here.
You know, he's looking at what is the physical disturbance that they're going?
Dewatering. There's peat on the property that needs to be dewatered around the area of the drive and the footprint of the,
Drill inside.
dig and remove water and spill.
And if the project is not approved, then what? Do you water?
I'm sorry, what do you?
Do you re-water that? If the project is not, the overall scope is not. What do we do?
I don't think we would rewater. We're dewatering. Yeah, and dewatering would improve the property and that would continue to be owned by the landowner.
So it could be removing more rock, more trees, more.
No, just the area that would be built in the footprint of the house and the drive to the house. Those areas would need to be, the soils would need to be removed, dewatered, and then filled, clean and filled.
Okay, so let's get to this. Can I get this? This is the application that was submitted. Unfortunately, it's not stamped. I don't know how much.
I have a copy of the stamp on me.
Well, this is the one that we have. So this is what we're going to go on. This application says 7.3 acres. That's what we're going. I'm sorry, I made a mistake and said 7.2. I don't know why I can't get this. You know, have it. Supposed to bring in.
That's and copy,
Here we go. Okay, so this is the application that we have. I don't know why it doesn't have a stamp on
I have the one that names.
it. Okay, that's February 6th. So this application says 7.3 acres. That's the application. Let's pull up what other information we have with that. So this is also. Okay, so this shows this area of disturbance that shows everything in this gray area.
Right.
There is no, on the permit, the only acreage that is listed is 7.3.
So I also have this one that was stamped and
I'm gonna stop this right now. I'm gonna be right up front with everybody. I'm uncomfortable with what you guys want to do. So if you want to have a vote with it, then you guys can vote on it. I'm the MS4 coordinator. I just started this job. I will not sign off on this until I have the proper advice from the people that I have to go to get advice from. If you guys want to sign off on it, we can't debate this project.
Not for you to do that. This motion is for you to talk to them
Okay.
and then you decide who wants to.
I don't want to go through this application right now, the way we're doing it. That's not what we do.
Yeah. No, I.
So,
yeah, what I give you is what was sent and stamped, so that's just my copy of.
okay, what I have, I'm going to stop everybody. This is the information that I have. This is what was official. This is what was sent to us on February 8th. I don't have any other information except the emails that you and I traded back and forth. That information was sent to everybody here. So is there any other discussion about the motion?
I'll withdraw my second.
Okay. Is there another second to Ken's motion?
I'd like to ask you a question.
Go ahead, Ken.
Is everybody on the board, she knows what the exciting purpose of what shooting for, what they're trying to accomplish?
No, I'm not. Again, that's part of why I think we need on my second. I think we need to understand exactly what's going to go on.
They put a series of ball plants down to draw the water, dry the land, and it's usually encompasses around the area, we want to excavate the work. And we need prevent water from ingressing into the construction area, once it's done. Then they move all the water points and then the water table goes back. And then it takes a good amount of time. So preferably you get the water table and then over to get it into a constructed area. Format, if you will. So it's imperative that they start. To be on schedule with the actual foundation work for now. So that's on that's why you see the urgent, see what the importance of having this approved ahead of time with contingency.
This has been going on for 3 months. We asked for the information, NOI and SWIP 3 months ago. We've been back and forth because we don't have that information. And the information that has been provided to me is that information is needed, necessary. Amy is suggesting to the board that information is not. If you guys want to make a decision outside of that, you're more than welcome to do so. So I understand the sense of urgency, but you guys have to make your own decisions. I'm telling you what has happened with this whole project with me and why it's outside now. So we have, Ken has a motion on the floor. Do we have a second? If we don't have a second, I don't know, what do you call it? The motion fails.
So my next steps then are what?
Well, I'm gonna go back to Reggie and ask for clarification of what you've sent.
Mhm.
And I want you to understand that the latest thing that we have says that we are correct in asking you for the NOI on Swift. And it's the same information that we asked for. Now, this is the third month.
Yeah.
So I want everybody to understand on the board that we have asked for this information for 3 months. So it's not, if you guys would have done the NOI at the end of Swift, like we suggested originally, you would be well into the process.
That's enough.
Okay, thank you. So,
So the next thing that happens, this cannot be approved until for another.
A special meeting will be
Or
chosen.
special.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
okay, thanks. Okay, so, you know, do we do the shed?
2302. Wrong.
Okay, shed. Can I ask you a question? Joe?
I'm just curious, I don't see, whether it's on the permit and that's everything in place. I'm not saying that will make a difference or not, but I just wanted to make sure that the permit doesn't say that it's replaced with the permit. With the shed.
There was,
And what happened?
that he put it on.
It's not repair and replace, it's gone now,
Okay,
right?
I don't know.
So my question is how about that setback? I see a 15-foot building line. I don't see a 30-foot building line.
I didn't hear
I see a 15-foot building line on
I'll
the,
pull
don't see a 30-foot.
the back was 20 foot back.
Let's, the address is Florimond, right? So this would be a rear setback, I think. Unless I'm looking at this wrong.
Is he? Bob?
Yeah,
He has it's a large lot
yep,
and, but the only question like you're asking me, and that's my thing. I think the only setback I'm concerned about is the back setback, right? Which would be 10. What is back setback?
Here you go.
The 20,
is it 20?
is it 20?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's beyond,
I thought we'd like to see that it's 20. But I think it probably is, but I don't know if you can measure from the picture there.
He's got the rear property line, then marked, and we actually drove a tape to the location where we're going to put the shed. He's got plenty of feet spare.
okay. Then I'm fine.
So that's all, like I said myself, we're just looking for that number someplace and then I think it's fine. Do you have a number of them? Does somebody just show us something?
What number?
The number that you're talking about that you measured.
How far the shed is?
That's answering your last question. How far this, we're asking about how far it's all. Do we have a document? It's all we're asking.
No, I just put the tape myself. It's over 23 feet, probably 24. I don't have a number.
That's fine. Make a motion to approve.
Is there a second? Any more discussion? All those in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed, same sign. The last thing on here is the community center landscaping. That actually came in too late to be voted on today. Well, hold on. That came in too late. It didn't meet the cutoff. Everybody should take a look at it. I don't know if anybody wants to discuss it, but we can't vote on it today. So I probably shouldn't even put it on.
I would ask that the permit app is missing a lot of information.
Okay. There was and you can help me out. You were involved in this, weren't you?
Yeah.
Did you send it, somebody sent it over what is being planned?
I think Chief Swift said that.
Okay, so what we need is that with the application.
And,
Okay.
and a properly filled out application, because I count the property owner. However, Britt Whitfield came for it. So, her name isn't mentioned on here, and no one's trying to,
Okay, so we'll get the proper permit and we'll get the proper information, then we can consider it, so we'll take it then.
Thank you.
Okay,
If we do have that, we'll not have that, or maybe we are. But we have a special meeting to consider this lady eliminating a lot of money to the town.
turn your microphone.
I would like to suggest that we go to a special meeting, we consider this at that special meeting, because this is on town property, this lady's gonna pay for it. I think she's also gonna put in a disability access to the community center building. This is a real good deal for the town, and again, if we can consider it and get it happening fairly quickly. I think-
All right, well, how about, I'll get with Chief Staff and Joy, and we'll get this put together with a proper permit documentation signed.
I think if they get the proper information, and then I think you can approve it at your level, but
I suspect that I can, I just, why don't we get the right information and then we can go that route, and if we can't do it outside of the meeting, then we can call a special meeting, Bob, does that make sense?
All right, my only comment is, I'm not overly thrilled with saying that I'll move it, do something extra for the permit, because there's something that's involved financially, and I don't think that's good motivation.
Okay, thanks, Jim. I just wanted to run over, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 permits that were approved, that everybody got, and I'm just gonna run through them, we already approved them. 2524 Glendale siding, 2907 Bell Plain, remove and replace pool deck, no coverage change. 2935, remove and replace driveway. 2312 Fairway, which was a fence. 2805 Brentwood, which was a fence. 2521 Glendale, which was remove and replace a retaining wall. Those we approved last week, I think within the last 2 weeks.
Larry, can you do me a favor and just email me those to make sure that
Yeah, you know what, Joe, we want to take this? Okay, thanks. Yeah, I'm not sure how this goes. That's all I have. Does anybody else have anything else? Roger's here, Jeff's here.
We're here.
So I'm not sure.
we have, we're on the agenda,
When did you send your stuff in, you know?
Tuesday.
The cutoff is Friday of last week.
Just out of curiosity, just stand here, what property are you talking?
What's the address, man? What's the address of the project?
1514 Lake Truck.
That came in Wednesday. What is today? 12, 11, 10. That came in on the 10th. Our cutoff for our meeting is the Friday before the meeting. I'm sorry, I wish I would have known that you were coming. I could have saved you the trip in 2 hours.
You can just approve it.
Yeah, you know, unfortunately, Roger, what happens, and it's kind of like we discussed earlier a couple of times. What happens is permits, if we get them a day or two before, again, this is a volunteer group. People just don't have the time to go over. That's why we put the 1 week before. So I'm sorry, we couldn't. I haven't even looked at it.
No,
Pardon me?
we have to wait another month now.
Well, yes, unless we have a special meeting or something, but the cutoff is Friday before for consideration of this, and it's actually posted on the wall in the office, and they should tell you that. I don't know if they do or not. I'm assuming that we do.
And is there a way to find out if you're gonna have a special meeting the week?
You know what, Jeff, if you want, why don't you send me an email and I'll let you guys know if we're gonna have one, but just send me an email. You have our stuff, and then that way I can get, and I'm sorry you guys sat here. I thought you were here for one that was already, we could have resolved this before you sat through all this. Sorry.
It was fun.
No.
In favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Meeting's adjourned at 2:58.